All right. Hi there, my name is Lauren Stone and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my husband Jason and I have converted this van, a 2019 Ram ProMaster, for us and our two dogs, Miles and Potato. I think Miles is there and then Potato's lounging by my feet where it's nice and cool because we are out in northern San Diego hanging out by the beach while we work and kind of just chill for the day and do our thing and getting ready for the weekend, which I'm so excited about, to just lounge about at the beach. We've been living in this van for about 5 months now. We sold our house out in Greenville, South Carolina, and we've been living on the road ever since. We've learned a lot along the way, and there are a couple things that we have learned that I don't think many people actually talk about, or at least I didn't think about, I didn't hear about on other videos. And so that's what this video is about today. It is about the 12 things that we have kind of learned throughout this and that they don't tell you about van life and living in a van. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. And without further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, no, I'm just gonna leave it exactly where it is. I'm not even gonna.
You got my shirt?
Shirt? What shirt?
The black hoodie.
Yeah. Okay, so the very first thing, and I'm gonna preface this that it's like a little bit gross, but it's just a part about living in a van that no one told me about, which you would think is like a very obvious thing, but us here in the United States, I don't know about other places, have usually in their homes or apartments a garbage disposal. We in a van do not have a garbage disposal. When you think about your drain and what goes down it and what goes down into those pipes, and maybe you don't always have hot water running through it, your drain gets really disgusting. So you have to clean it all the time. Pretty much every time you do the dishes, you have to clean it out. It gets all of this gunk and nastiness. So yes, it's gross, but it's something I definitely didn't think about. So just be aware. And number 2, so this van that you have built and converted all by yourself, or maybe you bought from somebody who converted it. It's fresh, it's ready to go. But as you start driving, you go over bumps and things happen and shift about and everything starts to settle, kind of like a house settles, right? The van settles. You'll start to notice things around the van, these little cracks in the walls, or your cabinets are squeaking, or there's this mysterious sound when you drive and it's driving you nuts and it's so loud and you can't figure out the origin of said squeak. So you are searching endlessly for it. So as your build starts to settle in, things are probably not going to be as nice as when you first built them, and that's okay. It's getting lived in just like any other place that you own. You kind of grow to live in it, right? Number 3, this is something that has happened to us several times now. We have driven, oh my gosh, I would say probably well over 6,000-7,000 miles at a minimum, I'd say, on this van since we have gotten it. I didn't think about the amount of times that rocks are going to hit your windshield. Thankfully, most of the rocks that have hit our windshield have been like quarter size at max that we've been able to fill, but our most recent one was a crack that started from the top and started making its way down. And so it was something that needed to get replaced. And we were like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so much money. Our deductible is really high on our insurance. We didn't think about making that a part of our insurance, which is a whole other thing I'll get to in a second. But thankfully, because our insurance and our van is registered in the state of Florida, we at least got our free replacement. So we didn't have to pay anything for it. So I highly recommend you check the insurance and like what you have coverage for. And that leads me to number 4, which is all about kind of the insurance. Now, I'm no expert in it, but a couple of things that we've learned about along the way: get uninsured driver's insurance. So that means if somebody hits you, whatever, and the other person isn't insured, you're not going to be liable for those things that happen to them. You're covered, you're protected through your insurance. And the other one is looking into property insurance. Our van, and like a lot of converted vans, they are not titled as RVs. What's insured is just your vehicle, just the base of the vehicle itself, and not what your actual property. None of this is insured. So I just highly recommend that you take a look into property insurance. That is a little bit separate than what your actual vehicle insurance is. So number 5 is one that's a little gross, again, kind of like the disposal, but it's just a part of living in the van. It's disposing of your gray water, black water if you have it, or we have a composting toilet. So we have like a blue pee jug basically for our Trulino toilet. And it's not always as easy as you might think it is to just be able to dispose of it. You have to be really methodical about where you put it. I made a video last week and it's all about our 10 van commandments, which is just like things that help us create a balanced life life while we travel on the road to avoid burnout. And one of the commandments is empty at half full, fill at half empty, which basically just means if our gray water or our pee jug is half full, we have to start preparing ahead of time and start looking into where are we actually going to dump these things, because you can't just dump it anywhere. And then fresh water is the opposite. If it's half empty, we start preparing, but that's another point. Number 6, and I actually have heard people say this more often, decision fatigue is so real. I'm just going to say it. Like, it gets exhausting over time and you need a hard reset every once in a while. Like, you have to think about constantly where you're going to be sleeping, where you're going to be dumping. Do you need to get water? How are the dogs doing? Like, is this place going to be good for the dogs? Is this place going to be good for us to be able to work? Or how's the weather there? There's just like a lot of things that go into play when you're living out of a van. If something goes wrong, now you have a whole other slew of things. And we've had a couple things go wrong recently. So there's just a lot of decisions that constantly need to be made. And like, one of the things that we do is when we start to feel like we're on the edge of burnout from decision fatigue, we get a hotel. We get a hotel for a night or two. We reset, we clean out the van, we make a new game plan. Like, we just give ourselves a minute, because this lifestyle is very exciting. It's very fun. It's very enjoyable. But again, it just requires a lot of decision. So just throwing that out there, be prepared. And you think you're prepared. I thought I was prepared, but then it started happening after like 3 or 4 months. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm tired. Number 7, just because you're in an area and there are no signs that say no overnight parking doesn't mean that it's actually allowed. So a lot of cities actually have citywide ordinances that may not be posted on a sign somewhere, but they will say, hey, no overnight parking within these bounds. We haven't gotten the knock or anything like that, but we did learn that on a website. I can't remember what city it was that we stayed in, but we learned that the entire city, you're not allowed overnight parking. Make sure to always check the actual like town that you're in. I'm going to do a whole other video on how we figure out where we're going to sleep. But for example, one of the popular apps that everybody uses is iOverlander. And just because iOverlander says, hey, 6 months ago, somebody checked in here and said it was cool to park overnight, doesn't actually mean that it is. So always make sure to double check the references that you're getting before you actually decide to park there overnight. Okay, number 8, everything takes longer than you think. Point blank. It's always going to take at least 3 times longer than you think. Going to the gym for a workout and a shower takes probably about like 2 hours, I would say, by maybe like an hour and a half. But even just getting from where you're sleeping to the gym requires making sure everything's put away and drivable. Maybe you have to do dishes because you didn't do the dishes the night before, or you got to let the dogs out and then you got to feed them, and then you got to get your gym stuff ready and your shower stuff ready. And then after you shower, then you're going to come back in and reset, and then it's time for whatever comes next. So at that point, you're at about at least 3 hours. So it's just everything takes a lot longer than you think. I hear a lot of people say that you only can do one thing at a time. I try to multitask. I shouldn't multitask. I have ADHD. I should not multitask. But yeah, it is a lot easier when you're just doing one thing at a time while you're in the van instead of trying to do multiple things because of space and other people and all of that. Just be aware of how much time something is actually going to take you. Multiply whatever you think by 3 just to give yourself some extra wiggle room. Number 9, you have to say goodbye a lot. A goodbye to people, a goodbye to places. We're in San Diego right now. I don't want to say goodbye. I don't want to leave. I want to just stay here. But we have other priorities, like we're looking for land or somewhere to buy that's like a fixer-upper, and that's something that's really important to us. We love the whole idea of living in a van, but we don't want to do it forever. So we need to prioritize that, and we can't afford to live here, so we need to kind of move on along this journey, say thank you, San Diego, for all that you have given me, and move on. So it's sad. It's okay. There's a lot of coastline that we're going to be visiting. That's another thing. Like, I really want to make roots. I want to grow roots within a community that I'm in. You can't always do that when you're living in a van because you're constantly moving. So you say goodbye a lot. Number 10, things are going to break, but the best way to actually learn is when things break and you have to fix it. So you learn about this place that you call home, right? You have either converted it yourself or you are buying it already built. I thought, oh, okay, we'll just go on the road and everything will be fine and it'll work great. And maybe every once in a while I have to get an oil change or this light will go out or whatever. But no, you think that you've set up your whole electrical system just perfectly. You watched all the videos, you did all the research, and no, you did something wrong. This has to get replaced, whatever. This wire wasn't crimped enough, something to that degree, and you learn along the way about a lot of different things. But yeah, things are 100% going to go wrong. So just brace yourself for that. Number 11, people will fear monger you into believing that this lifestyle isn't safe. I get it, okay? I get it that, let's just be honest, we don't live in the same kind of world that I grew up in the 90s. I'll be the first to say that. And so I understand that traveling right now might feel a lot scarier to some people. I have a lot of conversations with people who try to make me feel like I should be more afraid. I feel like I'm pretty street smart. I've got my wits about me, and I trust my gut. So if something doesn't feel right, if something doesn't feel warm, then we leave that situation point blank. Like, we're not going to continue putting ourselves into situations that don't feel right. We were in one just the other day, and I looked at Jason and I was like, this doesn't feel warm. I don't feel good here, and I want to leave. And so we did. We packed up and we left and we went somewhere else. Could it have been perfectly fine? Sure. But what's the point in risking it, right? This leads me to my last point, number 12. Jason suggested this as a point, and I think it's very important, especially given the timeliness of what's happening in the world and in our country more specifically. Everyone's a lot nicer than you think. Everyone is a lot nicer than maybe is portrayed on social media and in the news. I know that we're incredibly divided right now, and I don't recognize the country really that we live in anymore. And there's a lot of stuff out there that is scary, that is sad, and that truly divides us. But when you actually sit down and have a conversation with somebody, you ask them about their story and who they are and how long have they lived here for, where are they from, what's their family like, what do you like to do for fun, what's on your heart, what's on your mind, what struggles are you facing. You don't even have to ask that deep of questions, but I guarantee you they just want somebody to talk to, and they will share that with you. People are truly kind. We have met so many kind people. The worst people we have run into are people with road rage. Like, that's probably the worst that we have come into contact with. So just give people a chance. My heart has hardened a little bit over the years because of what is happening in the world and because of stuff that has happened in my own life. But I think that this is pushing me a lot to step outside of myself and my comfort zone, to bring down those walls and really start talking to people again and kind of soften my heart up. Whew, that was a mouthful. And I know that some things are probably things that you already knew. Some of these things, maybe you were like, oh yeah, I didn't really think about that. Or everybody talks about that, Lauren, whatever. The point is I wanted to share some of these things because these are things that we have come across, and maybe it's helpful for somebody who comes across this video. So again, if you're new here, I really hope that you subscribe. I share everything about these practical things about living in a van, the van build, any upgrades that we might do or repairs that we need done. But I also share about like my writing and the lessons that I'm learning on the road and just these reflections. And then of course, I will hopefully soon be starting our series on finding land to build our homestead and where we're going to live next. So I really hope that you stick around. It's going to be an exciting journey. Make sure to subscribe. And if you're not new here, thank you for supporting me in this channel and for sticking around for this journey. I'm learning a lot about myself, and I'm learning a lot about creating videos and YouTube and what I want this all to look like. So I appreciate you while I'm growing and learning and doing all of this. And I'll throw in this last little plug that I've recently started doing something called memberships here on YouTube, where for just a small amount each month, you can support the channel. And with that, I will share updates throughout the week, photos, behind the scenes, things like that, just for the price of a cheap cup of coffee. No obligation to do so. You can just show up every time I share a video and you can watch it and hang out with me for a while. If you feel inclined, it's there for you. You can hit that join button. I guess other than that, I will see you all next time. Bye.